Yeah, I like that energy in the chat. What up, what up, what up? What's going on? Ash, what's up? You ready? All right, cool. Make sure you get my good side. I think this is gonna be one of the ones. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, officially welcome to Dot Connect episode 109. My name is Chan Bobbitt, co-founder of Skyton Academy. Steve is not here with us tonight, but he's here in spirit. He did make it back from Colombia. And I told him kick his feet up, man. He's been doing a lot over there. So, y'all in good hands. I got y'all from here. But tonight is gonna be one of those moments where we're gonna talk about the world shifting right in front of your eyes. Wall Street is moving onto blockchain. The road to everything being tokenized has finally arrived. Political power is minting tokens that's going to shake the global markets. Gold and silver are breaking brand new all time highs, and these altogether are not just headlines, they're signals. They're signals that the world of money, power, and opportunity is actually being rewritten in real time. But here's the truth, this ain't about just the markets, this is about you, everybody who is invested, their time, their energy, their devotion. You guys are constantly here in the building with Skyton Academy as your trusted source, the authority figure in all things future of finance, right? And because you guys show up and you guys are always in the zone, you're in your bag, you're in your pocket. Today, I want to talk to you guys about your ability, i.e., your ability to recognize moments like this, to take control of certain decisions, to build the life that you are no longer at the mercy of systems that were basically designed to never ever allow you to win. This is your prime opportunity where you can take information, you could take people who look like you, who talk like you, who experience the world just like you do, and are sharing this crucial information. And then now you take this information and you execute. Tonight, this is not just about crypto, stocks, metals. We're going to include that, but this is about vision. This is about positioning. This is about stepping into your power. Because while the world is distracted, those who are awake will find the opportunities that's going to change generations to come. All right, so right out the gate, let's get into it. First things first, something huge just happened in crypto. Ondo Finance just launched Ondo Global Markets. And with it, over 100 US stocks and ETFs are now tokenized and live on Ethereum. That means you can now get exposure to companies like Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, even ETFs like QQQ, all on chain without going through Wall Street brokers or being limited to geography, right? For the first time, global investors can now hold pieces of the US stock market directly on their crypto wallets. Now, why is this so big? Let's look at the numbers. All right. So, first things first, the global stock market. Before I tell y'all, in the comments, y'all just tell me what you think your closest estimate is. How much do you think the global stock market is worth? And I'll give you a hint. It's in the trillions. YouTube, y'all do the same over there. I need that energy over there. It's in the trillions with a T. I see 7 trillion, 20 trillion, 19 trillion, 90 trillion, 500 trillion, 6.3 trillion. So Brenda is probably the closest. Brenda said 120 trillion. So I'm gonna give y'all the answer. It's 127 trillion dollars. All right. The US alone makes up nearly half of that. That's around 62 trillion to 64 trillion. By comparison, China is around 12.4 trillion. Japan is at 6.3. Hong Kong is at 4.5. And Canada, our neighbor above, they're at 3.4 trillion. So this basically just shows you how massive the US stock market really is. And now Ondo, ONDO, they're bringing it onto crypto rails. Until now, most tokenization efforts focused on treasuries and bonds. Now, the US Treasuries market is all about 29 trillion, but only about 7 billion has been tokenized so far. Ondo already leads with about 1.4 billion in total value locked. They've got equities now added, and they're expanding into the largest financial market of all, which is stocks. So here's why this matters for everybody and not just the guys in crypto, all right, and the girls, the women in crypto. I definitely don't want to leave y'all out. So 24/7 access. And I want to correct this, right? That's 24/7 is the overarching. 24/7 means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week access. Now, the truth is, right now, starting off, a lot of people are going to do 24/5, which means 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Your Saturdays and your Sundays are still going to be the off days, right? Those are days that are used for settlement, but they're not really open for trade at this time. So, what a lot of companies are going to start doing, they're going to do this 24/5 rollout. And instead of you having an opening bell like you have on Wall Street, tokenized stocks can move at any time, just like you would do XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Right? You've got global participation. You're going to have investors outside of the US that can now access American equities without being blocked by geography or traditional brokers. Then you've got DeFi integration, which is decentralized finance integration. This is going to be huge because when you think about DeFi, don't just think about it from a retail aspect, think about it from even institutional DeFi. Now, we've told you guys about this a trillion times, right? Once the big money comes in, the big money is going to find ways to create new products that bridge the old traditional with new offerings, new modernized offerings. All right. So tokenized stocks aren't just going to be an investment. They're going to be used in decentralized finance, in lending, collateral, trading, etc. So this is massive. And then last but not least, you've got price integrity and backing. So what Ondo did was they solved the old problems of fake liquidity and broken pricing by tying tokenized stocks directly to the real stock market. And it's going to have securities being held by the US, by US registered brokers, dealers, and they're all going to be verified daily. So this is going to eliminate fake liquidity being posed in the market where it's giving out fake signals so that now us, the retail investors, we have real data. We can see what's really happening in real time and we can be able to execute. This puts us at an advantage. All right. This is why people are calling it Wall Street 2.0. This is the bridge between the old traditional finance and decentralized finance being built in real time. And you guys got a front row seat. And not only am I telling you guys about this, I'm giving you a play. This is a huge, huge play when it comes to tokenization and it comes to tokenizing real world assets. Ondo Ondo, Ondo. This is not financial advice. I'm just giving you guys a play that ties into infrastructure, that big word, that big I word that we always like to give you. So for Ondo holders or the people who's interested in this, your first time ever hearing about it, this is more than just hype. The tokenized asset market has already passed 26 billion in 2025, and Ondo now sits at the center of a much bigger expansion. So if tokenized treasuries were to warm up, equities are now the main event. The launch itself could push Ondo and players just like it towards breaking that key $1 mark and beyond. So the bottom line is stocks, ETFs, and dividends are all now quote unquote programmable money. That's the future. We just stepped into, and Ondo Global Markets is now going to lead the way. Speaking of all things being tokenized, now I want to talk to you guys about Nasdaq. How many of y'all are familiar with Nasdaq? Drop a one in the chat. If you never heard of it, cool. But if you have, drop a one in the chat. I just want to check the temperature right now. I want to see if people paying attention, people on board. All right, cool. So now I'm thinking about what does Nasdaq mean? What do they do? What's the importance of that? I'm a crypto guy. I don't care about any of this other stuff. But let me show you something. Let me share my screen. Steve, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up if you can see this. All right, my guy. All right, so this person right here, this is the CEO, Adena Friedman. She just said tokenized stocks and ETFs are the future of global markets moving on chain. This is the CEO. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't think y'all feel where I'm coming from right now. This is the CEO of Nasdaq publicly at the All In Summit. She's being interviewed by another one of the greats. I can't remember his name off the head, but you'll be able to see it. I think it's Patel something. But listen to her words verbatim. It's a minute long, so y'all just strap in. Y'all listen close. All right.
So, so this morning we announced that we're going to be bringing tokenization into our markets. So making sure that equities are tokenized and traded on market, in the markets, not in a side sleeve, but actually in the core markets.
So the eventual goal, or is it today, 24/7, 365 equities, just let it rip constantly?
I mean, I think we are all moving in that direction. We announced several months ago that we're moving to 24/5. So we're
24/5.
moving that way.
So Saturday, Sunday, not.
Not for equities yet. I think that, we have to, we're walking before we run. But I think that getting to 24/5 is a major advancement for the US equities markets. And then on top of that, now with tokenization, if we can introduce that also into the markets, it allows us to really think about streamlining the post-trade processing, bringing and modernizing elements of the markets that have a lot of friction. We are hyper resilient and we're hyper scaled. We manage, like today, we had 95 billion messages come into our systems today. And we had a median, return time of 20 microseconds from order to trade. We handle like 3 million messages a second. It's hugely scaled. But then at the same time, once that trade occurs, there's a different process. And then the post-trade process, as we know, is an area where tokenization really shines.
Listen, not only did I tell you guys about this, I bought receipts. And you ain't hear it just from Chant. You heard it from the CEO of the Nasdaq herself. 24/5. Keep that in mind. That's the speed, that's the efficiency, that's the right now life-changing information that you guys are getting delivered in real time from the big dogs, from the behemoths. Y'all hear me out there? Let me check y'all post. Y'all good out there? Tap my screen. Can y'all hear me? I'm knocking on your front door. This is life-changing information. This is why you here in cryptocurrency. This is why you're rocking with Skyton. We're bringing you the information early. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of this, right? And then I'm going to go into who she is, and I'm going to give y'all another nugget before we move on. So today we're basically at a turning point in the history books, right? This is financial history. Nasdaq, one of the largest stock exchanges in the world, has officially filed with the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission here in the United States, to allow trading of tokenized stocks and ETFs on its markets. This means Wall Street is no longer ignoring blockchain. They're embracing it, they're building it, and this is now the new foundation of the new global financial system. So basically, what does this mean for you? Right now, when you buy or sell a stock, that ownership is already digital. It just is recorded on old legacy databases, right, of clearinghouses like the DTC, which is the Depository Trust Company. Now, with tokenization, those same shares, same rights, same dividends, same voting power can be also represented on the blockchain. Nothing changes about the security itself, but everything changes about how it's tracked, settled, and transferred. Now, these benefits are all massive and they get passed down to the people who are in blockchain. You're in distributed ledger technology, you're in cryptocurrency. Because when something gets tokenized, it's giving a token value of whatever it's worth, and everybody is able to transact on this. Now, what it's going to do is it is going to open the door for faster settlement. Basically, this is going to move from today's 2-day standard to damn near real time, like instant settlement. It's going to provide cleaner audit trails where every single transaction is going to be recorded transparently on a distributed ledger. That means everybody will be able to see it. right? And everybody will be able to verify it, knowing that this information is factual. It actually happened. It's time, date, and stamped. It has a transaction ID, etc. Right? Everybody can be able to see this. Now, with that, this is going to create efficiency by reducing all the extra layers for what you call it's the R word, reconciliation. Now, this is going to be between banks, brokers, and custodians. It's going to add flexibility. And since once an asset exists on this blockchain rails, it could then be used in a new programmable way. So it's going to be from instant collateral in lending markets to fractionalized access for anybody around the world, right? Any investor globally. Hold on, let me let these people in the room. Now, here's one question that came to mind. I was thinking to myself when I first heard this news, I knew tokenization. I've been telling you guys about tokenization literally for years now. We kind of didn't have a full vantage of it. You just kind of knew what was happening. You were able to see it. You could see the writing on the wall, and you just knew this is how things were going to materialize, right? And I actually thought that it was going to take more years for this to happen. But this is actually starting to happen super fast. I call this the run era, right? I honestly don't feel like we're in the walk stage anymore. So first it was crawl, walk, and then run. I honestly feel like this is the beginning of the run stage. And this run is going to be for many, many years to come. And we're going to get a lot of capital that's going to come into these markets. But you got to play this the right way. You got to be able to spot the opportunities and play them correctly. All right. So one question that came to my mind was, what about the stock market hours, right? Because again, I'm not a stock person, but I do understand that the US markets run from 9:30 in the morning to 4 p.m., right? Eastern Standard Time. Now, with tokenized settlement, the possibility opens for 24/7 markets like we see in crypto. In crypto, there is no time limit of when you can buy, sell, trade, whatever. The exchanges are open 24/7. You have full autonomy. You are your own bank. So you can do whatever you need to do with your crypto assets as long as you know what you're doing, right? So with this 24/7 market happening with stocks, I'm like, whoa, this is different. So now this means the amount of flow that comes into the markets and out the markets is all going to increase exponentially because there's no short time span. There's no short time block. Everybody's going to be able to get in, invest what they need to, buy, sell, trade, whatever, do what they need to do. But there's no in bail, right? So this is massive. Nasdaq's initial filing, it doesn't basically flip that switch though. It's still going to stay in its current hours for right now. But make no mistake, this is the infrastructure that can enable around the clock global trading in the near future. So imagine being able to trade Apple, Tesla, ETFs at any time of the day, anywhere in the world. That's what I call a long-term vision. And the efficiency and the ease of conducting these transactions is definitely going to change and dramatically. So instead of waiting days for settlement, tokenized shares could move in seconds. Instead of multiple middlemen or intermediaries confirming ownership, blockchain records are going to provide that verification for everybody like that. All right. So for the average investor, this can mean faster access to funds, lower cost, and basically like an overall smoother experience. And for the institutions, this means less risk locked up in the system, more liquidity, right? More money to be able to flow. And it's going to have a streamlined process for billions of trades to happen every single day. Now, here's why this is really, really so important to every one of you. So Nasdaq isn't building a side market, right, or a separate blockchain exchange. They're literally integrating tokenization directly into the national stock market under the same rules, protections, and safeguards that already govern stocks. And this isn't about replacing Wall Street. This is the upgrade to it. So when we tell you guys all about infrastructure, this is what we mean. I gave you guys the Ondo play because Ondo is one of the biggest real world asset tokenization platforms that exist. If Larry Fink, who is part of, he's the new interim, right, head of the World Economic Forum, If these guys are telling you about stable coins and tokenization, right? And Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, same person, told you that tokenization is the next iteration of finance. They're telling you without telling you, these are the players. This is how we're going to do it. You figure the rest out. No need. Champ just told you, right? They literally are upgrading the old school. You now got Wall Street 2.0. All right, so let's be clear. This moment right here basically proves nobody, and I mean nobody, even you guys over there in YouTube land who've been sitting on the sidelines, you never invested in cryptocurrency. You're brand new to it. You don't understand this thing, but you're here. You're present. You are not late, but time is of the essence. We are still early. Tokenization is moving from theory into the very heart of finance that exists today. Stocks today, but tomorrow it could be bonds, real estate, gold, precious metals, fine art, music, etc. Everything of value is going to be tokenized. That is their mission. That is what they are going to achieve. The rails are already being laid. Some of them are already built. And when the system goes live, the world of assets will look nothing like it looks today. So do not sleep on this. The Nasdaq's move is the green light for the new financial era, right? One where blockchain is no longer just a niche, it's literally the operating system for global markets. So you guys definitely got to stay informed, stay ready, and execute with intention because the future of finance is not coming. It's already arrived. All right. Now I told you guys with that news, the lady that I highlighted, her name was Adena Friedman, right? So let me share my screen again. I want to show y'all something. You know I like to bring receipts. Boom. Y'all bear with me. All right. So y'all can see the screen, right? This lady who just, you guys listen to her clip. She just told you what they were doing. This is the verifiable proof. This is what I tell you guys. Don't just listen to what me and Steve say. Actually dive deeper than what is being said to you, right? This way it gives you better context, better understanding, better clarity. The clearer you are about this information and these moves that exist, the better you will be able to position yourself. Education means nothing if you aren't clear on the data. All right. Understand that. So this lady, Adena T. Friedman, she is the chair and the CEO of NASDAQ. Now she's been there since January 2017, right? So she's got skin in the game, right? And it tells you that she rejoined the NASDAQ in 2014, right, as the CFO and the managing director. And then look where she came from. 20 right here. So 2018, she served as the Class B director for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So you guys know her backstory. You can read all you want to. This is officially on the NASDAQ site, right? Just go to about, go to their people, and you'll see her, and you can pull her right up. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is you see her background. You see she's on the main stage, and you see what she just told the world. Tokenized stocks are about, we're about to tokenize the NASDAQ, period, right? It's short and sweet. Now, there is this guy you guys may know of. His name is Brad Garlinghouse. This guy right here, his name is Chris Larson. So and you may know this lady here. This is Monica Long. She's the president of Ripple. Now, this list right here that you're looking at, heavy hitters. So the head of Fidelity Digital Asset Management, right? You got the head of Global Business Development here for Hidden Road. You got the CEO of Bitwise. You got this chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati. This is the guy that was kind of super instrumental in Ripple taking that win, right, against the SEC. You got managing director of DBS Banks. You got Ashish Birla, veteran. He's been with Ripple for the longest. He's a board member. You've got Coinbase, Chief Information Security Officer. You got BitNominal CEO, Canary Capital. Like the list goes on and on and on, right? Now, you're wondering right now, why does this matter and who are these people? So there's an event that's coming up. and this is on the Ripple website, so you guys can verify this at your own time, right? So these are all going to be the speakers that's showing up this year at Ripple Swell conference. Every single year, Ripple Swell, they have a new conference. And during the conference, there's always some big major news that comes out. A new partnership, a new implementation of their technology with a new partner. There's just new information that's going to come out that impacts the industry, the crypto industry as a whole. And it's mostly about Ripple and what Ripple is doing. But you see the players that are in the game, right? Now, here's one of the things that I couldn't find. If Adena Friedman just told y'all they were tokenizing the stock market, the Nasdaq, I couldn't find what blockchain was going to do so. Now, I gave you guys Ondo because Ondo is a play, right? Ondo is a real world asset tokenization platform. It's backed by BlackRock. BlackRock has $10 trillion of assets under management. Now, I told you guys how much the stock market was valued at, 127 trillion. Half of that, 62 to 64 trillion, is in here, the United States. That's in stocks. So if they're going to tokenize the stock market and they're going to tokenize the Nasdaq, and this lady who is the chair and the CEO of Nasdaq told you, and this same lady is on the panel of speakers for Swell with Ripple, what blockchain do you think they are probably going to use when you look at this list of big dogs and behemoths? Bank of New York Mellon, Ripple partner. Franklin Templeton, Ripple partner. Citi, BlackRock, Bitwise, Hidden Road. Didn't they just acquire Hidden Road? You see where I'm going? So when you have data and you have information, you got to be able to connect these dots. And just like we do always on Dot Connect Wednesdays, I'm here to connect dots. Now, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm telling you guys what I know based on data, right? And I'm making the connection pieces that most people don't really go into the mud and be able to navigate through, right? And connect. If I'm looking at this list of all these people that are Ripple partners and are utilizing Ripple technology, DBS Bank, Coinbase, Canary Capital, Hidden Road they just acquired. Like I'm looking at this and I'm looking at it from close up, but I'm also standing at a high level, right? I'm standing on top of that mountain and I'm looking at the fine tune and I'm trying to see the whole playing field. Now, it's only logical that you would think to yourself, if they didn't announce already what blockchain that they're going to use, you could assume it's probably going to be one of those key players because damn near everybody else on this list is a Ripple partner. If they are telling you that they're about to tokenize this thing, and she's one of the speakers that's here, do you think there's some big news that's going to come behind this? I do. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to keep your eyes wide open. I'm not telling you 100% fact and for sure that the XRP ledger is going to be what's used, but Ripple is literally in the business of handling all the money in the world. They want all the money. That was not a joke when years ago, many, many years ago, one of the employees at Ripple was doing a on-stage presentation. He said how they asked him, well, he asked the audience, how much money do you think Ripple wants to move? People were like, kind of iffy, looking around the room, thinking to themselves, maybe 10 million, 20 billion, 10 trillion. They go to the next slide and he says, all the money. And everybody starts laughing, but they're like, oh, like, that's what y'all on? They never joked about it. They meant that with their whole chest, period. So when I tell you guys, they're not going to put out this information. They're not going to tell you guys exactly what blockchains they're using, but they're going to show you through connection pieces. It's up to you to be able to connect those dots. That's highly important. Now, before I move on to the next piece, there is something that I wanted to go over. Now, I dropped a crypto intent on this, but I wanted to break this down. I waited because I wanted to get real official data. I wanted to look and see if there was anybody else that covered this and covered it correctly. Now, I'm going to break this down. This is going to be a little bit high level, but I'm going to still keep it moderate, right? There was just a huge hack that happened in the crypto space. And this hack was just brought to everybody's attention by the CTO of Ledger, right? So he basically was like, listen, right now, everybody needs to stop what they're doing. There's a NPM, N as in Nancy, P as in Papa, M as in Mike. There's an NPM hack that's going on right now that could steal everybody's crypto. And it's not just about Ledger. This is every single app. This is every single platform. This is your MetaMask. This is all places that you can think of that are integrated with the internet, right? So it was jarring. It was alarming. So as soon as I heard it, before I can finish getting all the details, I got the information. I put the crypto intent out. So every one of our members right now, you guys are getting that value because you are a member of Skyton Academy. We were formally giving out our cryptos and tins so that the world can see it. Everybody can get the value from it. And it was basically like a calling card. But that's what Connect Wednesdays are for. Connect Wednesdays are open to the world. We want any and everybody to come and be in this room. This is to show you guys our range. This is to show you the value that we deliver, the energy that we bring, but the actual information that's life-changing that we bring. So what we did was we took the cryptos and tins offline. Those go to Skyton Academy members only. So when we deliver on these cryptos and tins, it's important that you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, because this is the only value that they're going to get outside of being a member. So if you want more of this, you definitely got to join Skyton Academy. It's SkytonAcademy.com. It's $50 a month. Enroll today. 60 plus courses on a walk-in, AI, crypto, personal development, professional development. We do it all. All right. But back to this hack situation. I figured this was something that I needed to cover on Connect because this is one of the most serious software incidents, security incidents of 2025 this year. Now, this puts everybody's crypto at risk. So I need you guys to listen to me clearly, follow along. All right. So I'm going to cover what happened, why it matters, how phishing works, the packages that was involved, who was targeted, and crucially, what you can do to stay safe. All right. So if you're new to crypto or code, don't worry. I'm not a big code person, but I'm going to walk you guys through this. By the end of this, you'll have clarity, insight, and a solid plan to be able to protect yourself. So first things first, what exactly is phishing, right? So I'm going to start here. This is basically a cyber attack where somebody impersonates a trusted entity like a bank, a tech service, or in this case, an NPM, right? To trick you into revealing sensitive information like your passwords, two-factor codes, your login credentials, things like that. Usually it's delivered through an email that looks legitimate or SMS where you click a link, you enter in some information, or basically as soon as you click on it, bam, the attacker now has full access. Now, the hack in early September this month, right, 2025, hackers executed what's being called the largest software supply chain attack, right? Remember that software supply chain attack in NPM history. So I'm gonna tell you guys how this actually happened. It was 18 widely used NPM packages that got compromised. These include staples like Chalk, Debug, and it's one called ANSI Styles. And among a few others, they collectively download about 2 to 2.6 billion times per week. This is why this is so major. This malware got injected into those 18 packages that got those NPM packages that got compromised. It silently intercepts crypto wallet interactions in your browser. So it basically swaps crypto addresses mid-transaction. It'll redirect funds that you think are going to be sent to your cold storage wallet or to one of your addresses, and it sends them directly to the attacker control wallets. And it's all without any visible warning. So you won't have no clue. It's being compared to some of the most devastating open source incidents ever, not because of the stolen value, but because of how far it could have spread. This was like a contagion. So now I'm going to cover who got phished, the maintainer behind the breach, and well, let's just get into it. So the breach started with a phishing email, right? It pretended to be from NPM support. It was sent to one of the most popular maintainers. His name is Josh Junin, right? He goes by a username of Quix, Qix. Now, the email came from a fake domain and it was urging a two-factor authentication reset and it looked real. So Josh, he followed the steps and he entered in his credentials and the two-factor authentication, the token, right? So you know how the numbers will change. Let's say if you're using Authy or I think Google has one, the Google Authenticator. Every 15 seconds, 20 seconds, or whatever, it'll change the code number. So he puts in his credentials, unknowing that he was handing them over to the attacker. Once the attacker actually accessed his account, they published malicious versions of those NPM packages. So all the security teams, they did react quickly to it, right? They was taking them down within hours, but it infiltrated many systems and it hit them with a tainted code. So if you're not familiar with coding, I'm gonna just give you guys a quick breakdown. NPM stands for Node Package Manager. It's basically a repository for reusable code packages that's used in JavaScript and Node.js projects. And you can think of them basically as like the building blocks behind websites, applications, and crypto wallets. So this is even used by not just Ledger and Decent things like that. It's used by actual crypto exchanges and any crypto exchange that has a I forgot what you call it, but it's an extension. So like your Google Chrome browser. So when it comes to your MetaMask or even a SafePal, things like that, if you're using an extension and you have a compromised system, you're going to be one of the victims that got impacted by this NPM. All right, so basically developers use these, they use things like Chalk. Chalk is for colored console output, debug is for logging, ANSI styles is for text styling. Lots of the developers present day, they rely on these indirectly. So even if they didn't install those directly, they could be part of a certain project through certain dependencies, right? Now, because they're so widely used, if you compromise them, it means potentially compromising thousands of applications worldwide, which then impacts millions and millions and millions of users, right? And this is, again, this includes crypto wallets from front ends where address inputs happen in your browser. So again, anything with an extension, so like your MetaMask and things like that. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys why this matters. Right now, if you're, and this is still going on, so understand this. If you're interacting with crypto, even right now with popular wallets, web tools, you could be affected. So the injected malware can silently swap your destination addresses and send funds thinking it's your own, but they're basically being redirected and diverted to the attacker. And it's exactly what the malware was designed to do. It's supposed to intercept Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, Tron, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, etc. Right? It's going to intercept all of those transactions, whatever your browser interface handles. It then undermines the trust in the software that you rely on every single day, even if that software is quote unquote secure. It relies on external dependencies. And once those things are compromised, everything is compromised. So I'm going to tell you guys now what you can do to protect yourself. First things first, if you're a member of Skyton Academy and you was on the call yesterday, there was one four-letter word that Professor D kept saying throughout the call yesterday. And it was because distractions was happening, things was going on all the time. If you know what that is, drop it in the chat. The word is stop. Stop. Completely stop. Right now is not the time to buy, sell, or trade cryptocurrency, period. You can do whatever it is that you guys want to do. I cannot control what you guys do with your crypto. Everybody has 100% autonomy. But I'm telling you, right now is not the time to do transactions. If you've done transactions in the past couple days, I need you to make sure that your crypto has landed. You should have done that in real time, but just make sure that your crypto is where it's supposed to be. And that's it. Don't move nothing. Don't shuffle anything. Leave everything as it is right now. Just make sure you guys are fixated on it. You have accountability of what it is. Screenshot it just for your own tracking purposes and let it be until this thing subsides. So right now, I want you guys to pause all on-chain operations, period, especially ones that are browser-based, right? So anybody that's using anything Ethereum-based or MetaMask-based, please stop. Don't do it. Wait until you got trusted fixes and they're actually confirmed. The same way that information came out from the CTO of Ledger, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be more people that come out and they're going to be able to confirm that everything has been patched. The industry will go back to where it's at, but this should basically raise everybody's awareness. The second thing is make sure you guys are using hardware wallets. Confirm every single transaction on the device's screen. So you know how it doesn't matter what you're using, but I'm gonna use Ledger as an example. If you're using a Ledger Nano S or X or whatever it is, on the screen when it tells you to confirm the address, you have to look at it letter for letter, number for number, right? I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but this is urgent. You should be doing this anyway, right? But we tell you guys to do this in the academy because this is what you're supposed to do. And you're supposed to send a test transaction, a small amount first. Do it. This is how you build your reps. All right. This is how you get comfortable with sending crypto from one place to another. Get it off these exchanges, move it onto your wallet. All right. But verify on the device's screen, not just what's shown on the browser. Look at it letter for letter, number for number, character for character. All right. Once everything is going to be updated, you're going to get a notification to update and patch. So you're going to install official updates from Ledger or whatever wallet provider that you have when they release it. So look out for that. There's going to be a couple releases that's going to come up in the next couple of days. I'm pretty sure it's not going to take much long because that's what developers do. All right. They literally work for situations like this. And then if anybody here is a developer, you're going to use tools like GitHub alerts, SimGrep, or SBOMs to basically identify whether compromised packages were ever used in your stack, right? And that's only for developers. If you're not a developer, disregard that one. Next, I want you guys to enable strong, phishing resistant 2FA, two-factor authentication. I would prefer, honestly, hardware keys instead of SMS or email codes. But we know on cryptocurrency exchanges, they're going to give you those anyway. But I want you guys to make sure that if you have your own, I use Authy, but you have Google Authenticator, there's tons of them. So you don't have to be confined to one. You would basically use those over an SMS or email code because the same way somebody can hack into your devices, they can get your SMS credentials, they can mirror your devices, get your text messages, and emails are broken into and intercepted daily, right? So just be cautious with that. And last but not least, you guys got to stay educated and stay with Skyton Academy. Always remember that you are in the right place when you're with us. We are always people first. We're always going to demonstrate and do what we need to do for the people. When we go through and take losses, we turn those losses into lessons, and we turn those lessons into pieces of courses, and we give those courses to you inside of your membership. We were the guinea pigs. Steve and I have been in this industry since 2015, so we've taken a lot of losses. We've made a lot of gains, but we've took a lot of L's too. We had to test certain things. We didn't have the resources and the tools that you guys have now. So in order to build those things, it needed real world experience, which is what we went through. All right. So always just stay dangerous, stay cautious. And last but not least, what this basically means, big picture wise, for crypto and security, this attack is a wake up call. This is not just about developers. This is for every single person invested in cryptocurrency and even the people that's going to eventually come into the space. These are moments that people are going to read about and they're going to operate in fear because they're going to see things and then they're going to be like, oh, I'm a little hesitant. This information is always to inform you, never to scare you, right? Supply chain attacks are growing and they're becoming more common by the day. They can have a cascading effect beyond what people initially see. Even a single compromised maintainer, it can impact billions of downloads and thousands of applications with one simple phishing email click. Just one. But the good news with all of this is the stolen funds are relatively small right now compared to the potential of where it could have gone. And this lesson is invaluable. Trust must be built into the tools, not assumed. So to wrap this up, phishing remains one of the simplest yet most dangerous attacks that happen. And incidents like this shows how one single click can compromise your entire ecosystem. We're walking through how it happened, why it matters, where the risk lies, and exactly what you can do next. So if this really helped you guys out in any way and you now understand what happened, what's going on, and you're still looking for a home, you found it. We got y'all. So stay vigilant, stay informed, make sure you guys protect your keys and protect your peace. All right. Now that that is done with, I'm glad y'all is over there live inside the chat on YouTube. I appreciate y'all. I can't really see this chat over here. My screen freezes. But are y'all still with me? All right, cool. Just wanted to check some temperature. So I'm all about giving guys gems. I'm all about giving you all information that's going to be helpful. That's really going to help you guys in your journey in crypto. Yes, we want you guys to be profitable. We want you guys to make all the money in the world, right? But we also want you guys to know defense. Security is everybody's job. You have to stay focused. You have to stay vigilant. Now, this is the part, this is the last segment, right? And then we out of here. So I just noticed there's chaos going on in the world right now. Anytime that there's chaos going on, there's multiple governments right now that are just like literally collapsing in our faces. As this is happening, there's also a different paradigm on the opposite side. Now, you got to look at this two ways, right? Through two sets of lenses. You never want to benefit off of someone else's detriment, right? That's principle, right? That's somebody who operates off real, genuine morals and principles. That's what we do here at Skyton, right? We're never about somebody else's demise. Now, also on the other side, this is a reality that happens. You can make money off of economic instability when there's an uprising in other countries. It's normally because there's a negative impact on the people. So people revolt. Those people who are revolting are now taking it to the streets, and they're taking it to the politicians that they have elected and put in place to be able to take care of them. Now, there was a quote that said, if you can't control your emotions, you can never control your money. And that always resonated with me. That's something that always stuck with me. That's a super gem. Now, I had to connect the dots with this because a lot of this news I just saw today. France collapsing, Nepal collapsing. They're setting buildings, parliament buildings, all things on fire, right? They even stopped flights leaving out of Nepal, and they were taking buses to Kathmandu. Now, with the people that had to go to Kathmandu, once they got to Kathmandu, they started causing chaos and a war over there. So it's like there's people that were visiting Nepal in real time, right? Just to be there. They were travelers, right? And now they're impacted. Now they can't leave from where they're at. And anytime I see something, anytime I see something that happens overseas, it always clicks. It's like a light bulb for me. It tells me that it's not far from coming here to the States. So whenever I see something like this, there's an opportunity in it, but there's also an awareness that I needed to communicate to you guys. So when you see things happening abroad, don't ever just think that this can never be your front yard, right? Across the world is literally a couple miles away. It's a flight away. And a lot of the stuff that we were taught and told, it's a lie. A lot of these nations are a lot closer than you think. So when stuff happens, it trickles over. When there's unrest economically in other places, it normally leads to war. You've got countries bombing one another, right? You've got hidden players being a part of it, i.e. the US. And any time that there's chaos, money is going to be made. It's a necessary evil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of connect this dot for you guys. Now, a lot of the people in Nepal, they are revolting right now, and they took it to the streets. This is not about a social media ban. Yes, it happened, but that was what the politicians put out. The real issue that the people were having is that the people that were put in place, they were noticing that all of these politicians were corrupt. Don't that sound familiar? It's here. Same shit that happens here. Corrupt politicians, people that we think we put in place that are going to protect us and oversee us and do for us. We do this it's a never ending cycle. We keep voting for these people, right? People keep lining up to vote. You vote someone in position, quote unquote, and you think that you actually were responsible for putting them there. Story for another day, right? But these people never do anything for you in return. This is why you are responsible for where you want to take you and your family. And I spotted this opportunity. Right now, whenever there's economic instability, people go to places like what? The safe assets, the things that's tangible, right? That aren't shaken up by markets. They only grow when it comes to things about markets. And I'm going to tell you guys about two metals, gold and silver. Right now, gold just set a brand new all-time high 2 days ago. On the 6th, no, excuse me, on the 8th of September, gold just hit $3,672.83 per troy ounce. Silver is now trading above $41. These are levels that we haven't seen in over 40 years. So this isn't just about price action. This is a signal. And I'm going to break this down for y'all. So gold hit record high after weak US jobs data came out, right? And this basically shows that the economy is slowing. That immediately shifted all expectations that the Federal Reserve had. And then now they're going to quote unquote cut the interest rates, which is something that Trump has been calling for the longest, right? No matter how you spin it, the more that they cut rates, they're going to print money. When they print money, it's going to kill the dollar. The dollar is already depreciating. It's already down since December of last year. It's down 11.5%. Like, this is not hidden information, right? And I can take this super far, but I'm gonna leave it right here on surface level. Now, when the rates fall, gold, silver, they're going to rise. They're going to continue to rise, mostly gold, because that's the number one tangible metal, right? Now, gold doesn't basically pay interest, but in a low rate or falling rate environment, the opportunity cost of holding gold disappears, making it super attractive. And then you add in, you got geopolitical risk, you got wars, you got trade tensions with a lot of these other nations, and you're seeing what's going on. Investors move more capital into safe havens. This is where gold and silver come into place. And then you stack on top of that the fact that central banks worldwide are aggressively buying gold, stocking up as an insurance against the volatility that we're all experiencing. The result, we're in it right now. New all-time highs, prices that we haven't seen ever before. And then with silver, prices that we haven't seen in 40 years. 40 years. So this is like since before I was born. Now here's the educational piece. I told you guys in the intro that this is about paying attention to the information as it transpires and then being able to spot the opportunities. So here's the educational piece, right? This is what to look out for if you want to be able to spot when gold and silver are likely going to start rising. First, it's 5 points. First is going to be economic uncertainty. Watch the US economic data. You got your job reports, your GDP, inflation numbers. Anytime that you got weak results, it's often going to push investors from stock market, from crypto markets, anything that's quote unquote speculative, it's going to push them into gold, right? So that's one indicator. Second indicator is going to be inflation trends. Whenever inflation is running hot, gold and silver gain because they preserve purchasing power, right? People want their money to stay strong, right? And you don't want to keep your money in something that's depreciating or falling, right? So you move it into something that's safe, i.e. gold. All right. Then you've got the third bullet is geopolitical stress, wars, this trade dispute with the tariffs, all things. You got sanctions. These trigger safe haven flows in the metals immediately. This week, what's been going on? There's some kind of talks about a Supreme Court judge saying that the I mean not the ETFs, the tariffs were unconstitutional or something, some nonsense like that. And then they basically went against that and they were like, no, it's not. Like the world has been doing this to the United States since forever, and the previous presidents allowed it. They were in bed with those other nations and they allowed this to happen. That's why our dollar weakened. But now you have a president who is focused on America. He's focused on the economy. He's a money guy. I don't care if you agree with him or disagree with him as a person, but what he's doing for on the financial side, this is what he does, right? And he's able to spot that opportunity. So now he's giving the same energy that the rest of the world was giving us, right? He just has the backbone to stand on it. He's not in bed with some of these other nations. That's arguable, but we ain't going down the rabbit hole today. All right, now your fourth bullet is you got interest rates and dollar strength. Whenever the Fed cuts rates or when the dollar weakens, gold always tends to rise because it becomes more competitive against all other assets. And then you got five. This is the biggest thing I want you guys to understand. The central bank activity. When you hear about countries like China, Russia, all the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. South Africa. You hear about these nations or even emerging markets that were even interested in becoming part of BRICS. They're all buying up gold and they've increased the tonnage like nobody's business. And I'll give you guys some facts and figures coming up shortly. Now, the key understanding is that gold and silver, they're not just commodities, right? They're monetary assets. They thrive when trust in dollars, fiat currencies, governments, or markets get shaken up. So basically, what this means for you is everyone should be diversified. It's no longer optional, it's essential. You don't have to choose between crypto or metals. You hold them both. You strategically invest in them, you find entries, you get into them when the price is low, and you allow them to appreciate. Now your portfolio isn't just dependent upon one market. You're fully spread, pause, and you're putting yourself in a position where your family has stability and protection when the world is being shaken up and it's in turmoil and disarray. All right. So at Skyton Academy, everybody who's a member, you guys know about this already. But because this is Connect Wednesdays, I just want to tell you guys, we have two pathways for you guys to be able to partake in metals, right? So the first thing is going to be Glint Pay. This is when you have basically digital ownership of gold and silver. And in the I guess, instance where you feel like you want to spend it, you can do so using it like a debit card, right? You don't tangibly hold the gold itself or the silver itself, but you can invest in it, at the same spot market price that everybody else has it as. So JM Bullion, things like that. Of course, you're going to pay a premium because these guys have actual tangible metals. Not only do they have to package them, they have to factor in shipping. So you're paying a little premium. So Glint Pay gives you fractional digital ownership, right? Which is a super gem. I love it. Um, Now, so you guys have that opportunity. And again, it's called Glint Pay. Now, we also have a membership based, and this is a members only program that's only available inside Skyton Academy. It basically lets you guys buy gold, physical gold, and silver at wholesale cost. It cuts out all retail markups. The only thing that you have to do is you have to essentially, it's a membership base, so you have to pay the membership fee to be able to get into it. But all that information is available in course form inside Skyton Academy. So if you're not a member, enroll today, skytonacademy.com. It's $50 a month. You get way more value inside. So, that's just to give you guys options. And that's what you need in this world right now, especially right now. When you combine basic safe haven assets with smart crypto positioning, you're building a portfolio that can weather any uncertainty and still be able to capture all opportunity that you need. All right. So I'm gonna give you guys some real cold, hard data before we get out of here. When you look at the actual data, central banks quietly have been shifting into gold for each of the last 3 years. So we're talking about since 2022. They've purchased over 1,000 tons which is double the previous decade's pace. This is huge. This means that there's a storm that they're preparing for. The total holdings now stand at around 36,000 tons of gold, valued at more than, I think it's $4.5 trillion. This surpasses the US Treasuries for the first time since 1996. Gold now um, comprises 27% of the reserves, right, in the US. And then it's 23% in treasuries. So the big players, they're all leading the charge. The US, they hold 8,100 tons. Germany has 3,350 tons. Italy has 2,450 tons. France has 2,437 tons. And then Russia has 2,333 tons. So this isn't just like something that's happening here in the United States, right? I'm looking at the data globally and I'm seeing what even the big dogs are doing. The central banks are, if you will, they're like the bosses of all the banks under it. So if the big players, the big bosses, the central banks, they're increasing their buys in tons of gold and silver, and this is just gold numbers that I'm giving you right now. What do you think you all should be doing as a hedge against inflation and against volatility? Beyond gold, now you're starting to hear even chatter that these same central banks, especially the central banks that's a part of BRICS, again, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're quietly accumulating silver, and it's insane. What's happening to silver right now? Silver is on an uptick. If you look at the chart, it just formed a cup. Silver is super undervalued and it's used in so many things. I'm telling you, the same way that gold is now getting priced up, there's still room, there's big room for upside. But silver is that quiet, that quiet move. It's that safe haven, and it's that gem. It's like the XRP of metals, right? It's involved in damn near everything, and it's sitting at a stable price, 41 bucks per ounce. Please, this is not financial advice. I'm telling you guys, you have an opportunity now to get into metals. You can go on to sites like JM Bullion. You can do the Glint Pay. You can do the at-cost metals inside the academy. You can get it wherever you need to get it from. Just get some so that you have some on hand. Small denominations. You don't need to go out and buy huge kilos of silver. Or if you have the money, a kilo right now of gold is over $1 million. So for you to go and buy a whole kilo, hey, if you can afford it, go get some, right? But it's not easily divisible, right? When you buy big chunks, right? You want to buy ounces, you want to buy grams, things that are easily convertible in the event that something ever happened to our capital, right? And of course, you guys have your crypto. If they shut down the internet today, there was some information about Afronet, where basically a bunch of nations in Africa, they stopped. They didn't even need um, the internet that was providing, that Elon Musk was providing, right? They didn't need it. They're using their own whatever, their own internet on that side. And of course, the US is going to be against it, right? Because now they don't have surveillance. They can't see what's happening, right? But let's just say, and I just seen there was some other news that some fiber optic cables in the ocean, right, were clipped. The internet cables that we use, that's not from a satellite. That's from internet cables in the ocean, in the waters, but under us. So understand, those things were cut. So if they have to ever cut the internet and we just go dark one day, I and Steve have given you guys all the gems that you guys need to be successful. You know how to operate, you know what to get into, you know what to hold. And even if you weren't a part of Skyton Academy, you had all of the dot connects all the way up to 109 to be able to get this value. We gave it all to you. We put it all on the line. So if we never did another crypto in 10, if we never did another dot connect Wednesday for y'all got everything y'all needed. All right. I know it. We laid it all on the line. So Understand that this that's happening right now is basically early stage diversification when it comes to these big dogs, these big central banks. This is institutional, it's strategic, and it's globally coordinated. Understand, if the central banks are now loading up quietly, positioning yourself in these same safe haven assets is a no-brainer. So let this land with you tonight. The markets are always going to rise, they're always going to fall. The headlines are always going to come and go. Every single week, we have unlimited amounts of content to be able to deliver, right? But your decisions in these moments are what shape your future. Ondo isn't just about tokenizing stocks, it's tokenizing access for the rest of the world. It's proof of how power and politics play the money game. Gold and silver aren't just metals, they're reminders that value is never destroyed, it's only transferred. The question is, will you stand on the sidelines and watch history pass you by? Or will you step into the arena informed, intentional, ready to move, ready to demonstrate, ready to execute? You all have the power to diversify, to secure, to grow, to lead. That's your job as men and women. It's our job, our duty for the rest of the world to use us as the examples. This will not be the generation or generations that failed the ones to come. We're not doing it, especially not on our watch. Not just for yourself, but for your family, your community, and a legacy that carries your name. This is bigger than money. This is bigger than freedom. This is about sovereignty. This is about decision making. This is about being able to spot the opportunities that your future self is going to thank you for. Stand tall, move with conviction, and always remember, the dots don't connect moving forward. They always connect when you look back. Tonight, you've been given the absolute blueprint. Now, it's your turn to make the move. It's on you. Dot Connect 109. Out.